Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Love Loss series with Linda K. How are you? What a journey it's been. What a journey it's been. Thank you so much for all your comments, your likes, your questions. I understand that grief is it's something that, it could make people feel sad. It could hash hidden emotions. But we're not gonna stop because it's inevitable, and a lot of people are benefiting from this. Do reach out to me when I don't do a video. I'm thinking especially this week, my friend Prisca. I love you, sister. I don't know what to tell you. There's nothing I can tell you that can change the situation. Yes, Nina is being mourned all over the world. People's lives have been affected. Everyone has mourned or commented about what an amazing person she was on Facebook, but that doesn't make it any easy. I know that you're feeling lonely. I know that you're feeling pain. I know that you're feeling angry and you have questions. And like I keep telling you on the phone, I'm only a phone call away. If you just want to vent, if you want to cry, I don't know what this journey is going to be like for you and the family, but I can tell you that the Love Loss series stands with you, and please let us know if there's anything that we can do for you. I'm also thinking about the Muma family and the Bishop Rogan students and admin that have also lost staff suddenly. My thoughts and prayers are with you. Today I want us to talk about grieving, or experiencing grieving, or going through grieving when it's sudden death versus anticipated death. So I know that we're all going to die eventually. All death is painful. People's lives are affected. It hurts. But we just wanted to look at some of the aspects about sudden death and anticipated death. When we talk about sudden death, I'm thinking about suicide. I'm thinking about the plane crashes. I'm thinking about mass shootings. I'm thinking about accidental death. I'm thinking about heart attacks. I'm thinking about acute illnesses where neither the person or the people that are left behind to mourn them are ready or expected it. It just all of a sudden happens. Most of the time you get a phone call and boom, it's happened. And anticipated death, I want us to think about people that die from cancer, any kind of terminal illness. Could be diabetes, it could be old age, it could be just their time to die because they're old. But how do you grieve? How do you mourn? How do you deal with grief? Like I always tell you on this channel, I don't have all the answers. I share my experiences and experiences of others, and then hopefully you identify what you're feeling and you get the support that you need. So talk about sudden death and anticipated death. The first one is shock, the element of shock. When it's a sudden death, it is like, wait a minute, it didn't just happen. The element of shock is definitely longer than when it's an anticipated death. There's still shock when it's an anticipated death. So for instance, if you have an aging parent or grandparent, and they're coming to the end of life and you know that this is going to happen, the moment you walk into that room and they're not on that bed, there's always that element of shock. However, because it's anticipated, your shock is only but momentarily. So you deal with it and it goes. And then you start dealing with the fact that the person is no longer here. But when it's a sudden death, it's more acute. It's more intense. It lasts a long time. You keep revisiting that shock element. Like even when things do happen, you're like, oh my God, this person is still, like, you cannot believe the person is not here. One of the experiences that I want to share about sudden death as opposed to anticipated death in my case is my dad died 19, almost 20 years ago now. But I remember that when I saw him in his most frail moment, I said a prayer. I said, God, if he's going to suffer this way, please take him. Don't let him suffer. Please take him. And when I prayed that prayer, a couple of days later, or even the day after, my dad died. And I have to tell you that Immediately my dad died, the first thing I said to myself was, no, I didn't mean take this. Like, I didn't mean for him to be gone and I'll never be able to talk with him. I'll never be able to laugh. He's not going to know what I'm going to grow up to be. It was hard and I was shocked. I did not expect it, even though he had been so sick and getting frail right in front of us. So I have to say that there is always the element of shock. And then I want us to deal with guilt. What do we experience? How do we experience guilt when it's a death that is anticipated as opposed to a death that is sudden, that just happened? Oh my God, the guilt. When I was thinking about this, a scene keeps coming to mind, and I'm thinking about mass shootings around the world. Whether it's at the mall in Kenya or school shooting in America, wherever the mass shooting is taking place, I think about those moments. And I think about being a parent, dropping my son off at school or daughter off at school. And, we're always in a life is in a rush. We're always rushing to go, go, go. And so you're like, bye, 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 bye. Love you, love you. And you go only to come back to pick them up and you find out that they're gone, that they're not here anymore. It's like, wait a minute. So the guilt comes in now. It's that feeling, oh, I wish I'd said all the things I wanted to say. I wish I had more time. Is it my fault? Was that, so many things go through your mind when it's anticipated and when it's sudden. It is equal. You do experience grief. However, I am tempted to say when it's sudden, the guilt is so, you're like, there's so many things. I should have not sent them to school that day. I should have not gone to the mall that day. I would have. If it's a plane, you're like, I wish, can you imagine how many flights take off and land every day? And then of a person or a family that has suffered loss through a plane crash. Like, how devastating. How devastating. It's like, is the punishment for something that I've done in this life? So a lot of things go through your mind, and it's really important that that no matter, it's really important that that no matter the situation, that the person that passes knows about your love, not in the moment that they're passing, but they know the relationship they had with you. They know the love that you had for them. So don't beat yourself up. It's not about the last thing that you said to them. It's normal. It's a natural feeling. It's a natural human emotion to feel guilt about all the things that we could have done, or not said or not said. But at the end of the day, I believe that people know the love relationship with every individual. You know where the love is. You know where it stands. And because grief is so intertwined with the relationship that you had with the person, it's so important to know that they remember that you love them. And I'm thinking about my brother Valentine, my cousin Valentine, Simo Valentine, who died of cancer. Cancer to some people might be they're sick for a long period of time, and there was unanticipated death. With my cousin, we were very close. Like, Valentine and I were really tight. And we'll talk every so often. And I remember I think it was literally 3 weeks to when he passed. He had just graduated school, and he phoned me on Skype. That we use Skype to talk on video. I don't think there was no WhatsApp at the time, so we use Skype to video each other. And he had phoned. I was talking to another family member that was home with me, and I was talking to him like doing other things. So I couldn't see him. And then he said, "Mamili, come, mercy. Mamili, come, mercy your face." And I was like, "No, I need to go grocery shopping. I'm gonna talk to you later. I can't talk right now." So I did not come to the computer. And I just said my bye like casually, and I left. 3 weeks later, he passed. But I cannot forgive myself for not going on that computer and looking at him and telling him how much I loved him. We knew we love each other, and we know that. Do we say it as often as we should? We don't. Did he know he was going to die 3 weeks later? No, he didn't. Because he just checked himself into the hospital and was diagnosed of stage 4 lung cancer that had spread. and because it was long, he had to be intubated immediately, and so I didn't get a chance to say. There was no other phone calls that we could talk. We just got a phone call that he was in the hospital in that condition, and he never came out of it. So there is that guilt that I live with and that I struggle with, and every time I think about it, I did think the way I cope with it is I just tell myself Valentine knew how much we loved each other. Valentine was a brother. We were close, and he was a big brother that would really cared for me. That's my consolation. That's how I cope. That's how I cope. I beat myself up for not coming on the phone that day, on the computer that day. But the reality is he knows how much I loved and cared for him. He knows how much his death affected me and others. I just wanted to say that. And then there's trauma. How much more traumatized are you when there is a sudden death as opposed to when the person, it's anticipated, the person has been sick and suffered? How bad is the trauma? I'll let you answer for you how it's affecting you. But to me also, when it has been a sudden death, like I've shared with, for example, my friend Locadia, it's so traumatic. The trauma lasted longer than even my own family members, or say my dad. I wasn't traumatized by my dad's death. I was traumatized by the way he looked when he died, because that was not my dad. I saw a frail, really aged person, and that's not the way I wanted to remember him. So that's traumatizing. But when it's sudden, you're also dealing with the trauma of the event. So whether it's suicide, a plane crash, a shooting, all of those things that make the death sudden, you're traumatized by that. And you're also traumatized by the fact that the person's not, that there's PTSD in a whole different level when it's a sudden death. There is trauma in both deaths. It just goes to a whole different level when it's a sudden death. So if you've lost a loved one at sudden death, I strongly recommend that you speak to somebody professionally, a trusted family member that's not going to judge you, because somehow you're suffering PTSD. It is just inevitable because it's so traumatic. It is. We all accept death. We know it's going to happen. And, as Christians, we know there's a beginning and there is an end. However, the end is so relative. It is so relative. Because when I look at my dad who died at 55, that cannot be the end. That's the middle. That's when life was popping. So, but that's how I feel about it, right? That's what I'm thinking about, and that's what I'm traumatized about, is why will somebody so young, so vibrant, so good, so hardworking not be here to enjoy the fruits of his labor? 55 years old is young by any calibration. I know in some developing countries the life expectancy can be 55. However, I still have that bias, that anger, that why did my dad have to live? How could it be an end at 55? Life is popping. His children are just starting to become adults. Why is he not here to enjoy all of this? Why is he not here to share these memories with us? And I say that as a personal experience, but there've been younger losses. I think about my friend Elizabeth, who loses her son at 16. How is that an end? How is it an end? That could be my selfish, just being a human, being so selfish, wanting to spend more time with the people that we love. But that also affects how we grieve. Because when we think about it, it's like, oh my God. Like at some point in my life, I don't do it so often now, but at some point in my life, when someone lost a parent, I'll be like, duh, mine has been gone, Or a grandmother, I'll be like, lucky you. I don't do it so much now, but I can always tell you that sometimes it does cross my mind. It's like, lucky you. Lucky you. You get to spend all this time. You get to give a befitting burial to this person. You have all these memories to hang on to. Some of us didn't get the chance, but that's our human weakness. That's part of the grieving process. That's how we define our grief. It's like, what is going on? Why me? Why us? And I'm thinking about a young person that just died. I was talking earlier in the video, was attributing this video to my friend Prisca because she lost her sister Nina, and Nina is only 35. Like, why? How is that an end? How are we supposed to move on? How are we supposed to gather the pieces? This is somebody that is so industrious. This is somebody that has moved mountains in her young. She has touched lives. She is everything that we're brought up to be. She was a strong, independent woman, but she dies briefly after a very brief illness. We're not even able to get a proper diagnosis. Like, that is angersome. That is worrisome. And that's gonna determine how your grief journey is going to be. So if you're somebody that is grieving a loss of somebody suddenly that is so that you think has done all the right things, that's going to affect your grief journey, as opposed to someone who's burying an aging parent. And don't get me wrong, they could be burying an aging parent and it's their only surviving or their only living relative. That makes it also really traumatizing for them. That makes it also really difficult. How do we cope? How do we do this? How do we start to pick up the pieces? It's going to be different for everyone, but I can assure you that you do. Just get up in the morning, put one foot in front of another. And I know I say get up in the morning, I say that very loosely and generously, and I know that it's hard. I know that it's very difficult to be able to get up and go, but that's where you start. I don't know how long it's going to take you to get up, but that's when it starts, when you can find the strength to get up. And I pray that God will strengthen everyone that has lost a loved one, anyone that's grieving. I pray that God will strengthen you, because you need the strength to go through it. I'm thinking about who's going to bury their dad. Yeah, he's lived a fulfilled life, but it's their dad. They're going to miss him, but that's their dad, and that's their second parent. So people are going to grieve. They're going to manifest it differently. I want you to hold on to each other. For the family that's left behind, hold on to each other. Be there for one another. You have each other. That's the only thing that you have right now. And that's what your loved one would want. They will want you to hold hands. Try. Do it, because someone has just left this world. How difficult it may be, hold hands. Stand together. Cry. I know that sometimes, most times during the funerals, that's when, there's all this family feud. Be a bigger person. If you're watching this video and you're going through that, be the person that stands up and says, no, we cannot do this. We cannot do this. If anything, we're never going to see a brother, a sister, a father, a mother, ever. And so this is the time for us to celebrate us that are here. Just to get together, give them a befitting burial, so that we can all start the journey of grieving, because it's going to be long. These emotions are going to come back at us when we don't even expect that they're coming. Be encouraged. If you're a Christian, hang on to your faith. Find the scripture in the Bible that resonates with you, that gives you that connection. If you're a Catholic, try to attend Mass. Go sit in front of the Blessed Sacrament and just pour it out. Just pour it out, whatever you're feeling. Whatever you do, please express how you're feeling. Do not hold it in. Do not feel alone. Do not feel alone. Grief is lonely, I know, but there's always somebody willing to let you vent, to let you go through it, to let it out. Please make use of it. Please make use of it, because you need it. It is hard. We've lost so many people to COVID. Families are impacted, and we continue to lose people. How are we going to cope living? We cannot be broken, and we cannot take it for granted. We cannot say, oops, that's another one and we're moving on. No, lives are being impacted. So we need to stand together. We need to hold hands. We need to support each other. Stop the fighting. Stop the disagreement. It does not matter. It doesn't matter. It's nobody's fault. Whatever it is that is happening is no one's fault. Maybe someone is just grieving differently from you. Find a way. You have control over what you can do. You have control over your actions and your words. So take control of your actions and words and consciously, intentionally try to intervene. Intentionally try to change the narrative. Intentionally try to bring everyone together. Because if we have a time where we can come together as a family because we've lost a loved one, this is the time. This is the time. Because this journey is going to be so long. It's going to be so lonely. And if we cannot get together today, imagine a couple months down the road when it really hits you. When it really hits you and you miss that person so bad and you're not able to call them. Well, are you able to call somebody else in your family? Are you? So let's try. I'm not making light of it. I know that you're hurt. I know that, you're dealing with your own emotions since this person is not here anymore. And this person may be the all for the family. He or she may be the glue that held everyone together. But they're not here anymore. And so try to be that person. Try to be that person. I don't know why I'm saying all this. I don't know why I was inspired. I completely derailed out of my topic for today, but I'm not going to edit this part because I think that I was inspired because somebody needed to hear this. So be encouraged, someone. I'm so sorry for your loss. And whether your loss was an anticipated death or a sudden death, I know that you're hurting. I know that you've loved and you've lost. And the love lost series stands with you. We're only a phone call away. You can call us. You leave us comments when you watch this video in the comment section. Let us know how you're feeling. Let us know what we can do to help. Let us know if you want me to talk about something. Also, I'm open to that. It is my commitment to humanity to be able to support those that grieve, those in this most vulnerable time of your life. I want you to feel encouraged and I want to stand with you. And I thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this far, I'm just going to end here because I went so out of topic. But I just want to end here and I want to thank you so much. I want to thank my amazing subscribers. I know we took some time off for the summer, but who didn't? Health is wealth, so we're thankful to be alive. Well, thank you for the opportunity to share our thoughts about grief with you. Please give us a thumbs up, like, share this video, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye-bye.